would be able to identify the day that it started. They wouldn't say, oh, sometime in the fall of last year. They would say it was, October 17th, 2005, right? I mean, they knew to, and they could even, and his next question was, what happened just before then? And they would always recount, every single time he would do this, it was almost like a magic trick. They would recount a very traumatic incident. And I'm curious if there might be something with that with your chronic fatigue syndrome. You know precisely the day that it started, in the morning that you woke up. What happened before then? Did you have any kind of traumatic incident?
Well, I was feeling overwhelmed. I remember my sister stayed with me about 6 weeks before I got sick, and she slept in the same room that I slept in, and she talked about how I was crying out with obscenities, much of the night. So I was feeling again, I was feeling like the world was like crashing down on top of me. I was just working so hard at so many different things. So I was, fully extended and ripe for a collapse.
And you don't think that is more relevant, that it might be, because you said it's very unlikely that it would be psychosomatic, but what you just described sounds to me like it's perfectly logically to be psychosomatic. I'm not saying you're not really sick. I'm not saying you don't really feel terrible. I'm not saying you don't need lots of sleep and you don't need all the vitamins and the acupuncture and all the other things that you're trying to do. But I'm just asking you if it's, again, I'm not diagnosing you here. I don't have a medical degree or a degree in psychology. I'm just into it. I'm just, through our conversation here, it sounds to me like that's the more plausible explanation.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think there are psychological reasons why I drive myself so hard, and how that leaves me wide open for collapse and for illness. And I do believe in psychology, psychiatry, therapy, and medication. And there's never been, I've never refused that angle. I've always embraced
You're open
it
to
and
it.
pursued it to its length.
Luke Ford is on the line from lukeford.net. He blogs there. It is a gossip site, and I want to talk about that. I guess this is the last couple more things I want to talk about. How are you doing with this kind of conversation?
Loving it.
Oh, good. Okay. In Judaism, gossip is a sin. It's a lashon hara.
Yes.
Do you see it that way too, or do you think gossip is normal and natural and healthy, and it's how we communicate?
Great question. I agree with Judaism, but once again, it's kind of like racism and sexism and homophobia. Like lashon hara is a term that you can immediately use to dismiss any news reporting that you do not like. So the same verse in the Torah which prohibits gossip, the verse right next to it is, "You shall not stand by while your neighbor's blood is shed." So I think needlessly airing personal details, private mortifying information that does no good is gossip and should not be done. Airing information about things going on in the public square that knowledge can then benefit and arm people so that they can lead better lives. I don't believe that is gossip. That is primarily just good, solid reporting. So gossip can be used to dismiss reporting that we don't like, such as the mayor's marriage. I don't think it's just a trivial, amusing, fun, titillating, salacious bit of information that the mayor's marriage is over. I think that's a significant thing for Los Angeles. Not because he's committing a great sin by committing adultery. I don't think that's the newsworthy effect, but just that I think we have all these conflict of interest laws for attorneys and for corporations and for anybody with power. So we should know who our chief executives of our cities and states and countries are sleeping with.
Would you like to work for the L.A. Times or the L.A. Weekly or the Huffington Post? Would you like to be a paid writer for one of those, or I don't know, the
I would
New York
love
Times?
to write for the Los Angeles Times or the LA Weekly. I mean, Huffington Post, if they want to pay me, but I don't think there's any great prestige in writing for the Huffington Post. The LA Times has its problems, but it's still far and away, 5 times more powerful than any other journalistic outlet on the West Coast.
Has anyone ever offered you a job at any legitimate newspaper?
No.
Or no, never.
No, they talked about it, like it was talked. A major magazine talked about sending me on the campaign trail in 2004, and other things that people were talking about, but nothing has ever come through for me.
But that's something you'd like.
I would love it.
But it's not a goal.
My goal is just to write, and I would love it, but I'm not gonna play politics. Like, everyone wants me, to play the game and be strategic and to pull my punches when I write about the LA Times, so I don't offend people who could hire me. And the LA Times decreed that their writers could not cover the John Edwards affair story because their ace reporters were checking it out, and until then, no one could cover it. I wouldn't put up with that. They couldn't tell me that I couldn't cover the John Edwards affair story or the Villaraigosa affair story or anything else. I wouldn't put up with that. I don't roll that way. So I'm not going to be strategic and brown nose and play the game to and not criticize powerful people so that I can advance in my career.
Last question for you. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. Luke Ford is on the line from lukeford.net. Read his blog, and you can see his. You can watch a webcam of him staring at his monitor and typing on his keyboard. What are you reading right now? You're a voracious reader. What do you like?
Oh God, I'm reading a book called Facing the Holocaust. It's about Israeli fiction and the Holocaust. I just finished reading a book called The Genius about Bill Walsh. I used to cover him when I worked for a radio station in Sacramento about 23 years ago. I spent 3 years covering the 49ers. And so I quite enjoyed that book. Then I've got on my shelf to read, I've got Dating for Dummies, and I've got The Complete Idiot's Guide to Shakespeare.
And you're reading them all simultaneously? You'll read a couple pages?
No, I finished the one on Bill Walsh, and next I may dip into the dating one. The Dummies and Idiots ones, books that you can dip in and out of. So.
You don't like fiction?
Yeah, no, I love fiction. I've read War and Peace twice. So.
And how many times have you read the Hebrew Bible?
Oh, God, my dad gave me $20 to read it all the way through when I was 10 years old. So I'd say probably 10 times.
Where's your Bible right now?
Well, I've got many different Bibles, and they're right on the shelf right behind me. So if you're looking at the webcam, there's a 20-second delay, but it'll eventually show you the different Bibles that I got on my shelf. I do this Torah talk on my live cam once a week. I got these really hot girls who are scholars and writers who come in and talk Torah with me. And then we get down and dirty, and then afterwards we discuss the moral repercussions of our deeds.
Luke Ford from lukeford.net. I really enjoyed speaking with you. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, it was fun. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thanks again. We'll talk again, I'm sure.
Okay, great.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.